Hi. So I know it's been a long time since I've done one of my walking meditation sessions with you guys, and I figure now's a good time as any. Don't mind my hair because I literally haven't been doing anything today except working behind a computer. And so um, there's no curl, no nothing to it, quite honestly. And that's just what it is right now. Anyway, today I thought it would be really important to talk to you about letting go and why that's okay. So many of us hold on to people and or things way longer than we should. Now, I will admit that the things, the items, they are a lot easier to get rid of for most people anyways. If you're like my mom, you don't want to get rid of anything, and then it really sucks when she actually does find use for something she's kept for 37 years, because she does not hesitate to rub it in our face, but we'll leave that for another day. I want to more so talk to you about letting people go, especially, and I can only speak within the Black community, but especially when it comes to toxic relationships, toxic friends, people are so reluctant to realize that they deserve better than that toxic friendship or that toxic relationship. And I'm here to tell you that if you have a friendship, you're in a relationship, whatever the case may be, and it's not working, it's okay to say, you know what, this is no longer serving me in the ways that I need it to, and to let it go. I have been learning this over the past few years because most of my friendships started in, I'll go all the way back to say as junior high. Case in point, I recently had to stop being friends with somebody that I've known since junior high. Oh, that's kind of creepy. I thought that was real. Anyway, that's the fun of going on these walks and doing these walking meditations with you, is that you see some really interesting things sometimes. Anyhow, and I apologize, as you know, I do this while I'm walking, so I can't look at my phone while I'm recording the entire time. Because I obviously have to watch where I'm going. Anyway, case in point, I have been friends with this girl for, I would say, since the 7th grade, and I'm 41. So that's easily 20 plus years, right? More than that. And, we had lost touch for a while. She had gotten married, had 2 kids, got divorced. I had, done my thing, was engaged, had my son, blah, blah, etc. And thanks to Facebook, we were able to reconnect and not so much as pick up where we left off, because where we left off was junior high. When she was going into high school, she went to a totally different school that I did. So after junior high, we never saw each other. So we never really got the opportunity to learn one another, learn our likes and our dislikes and things like that. So now as adults, 20 plus years later, we're reconnected on Facebook. And it's like, well, we still like the same music. We still like to go out and have fun. And we thought that, or at least I thought that would be enough. I thought that, because we like the same music, we like going to concerts. We like, for the most part, kind of going to comedy shows. Not really. Kind of both like poetry. We had some things in common. And I really did think that was enough. To my surprise, it was not. We had many times where our personalities would clash so much that we needed to take a break from each other. And sometimes the breaks would be a month, a week, sometimes 6 months. I think the longest break we took was around 6 months. And then I heard about her father passing away. And of course, I don't care what I'm going through with somebody. When it comes to stuff like that, a death in the family, or even just sickness in the family or whatever, I'm going to at least reach out, make sure that you're good, because that's just who I am. So that reconnected us again after that. I think it was like 6 or 8 months. And, during this time, I'm learning a lot about myself, about who I am as a person, who I am as a friend, who I want to be as a friend. Because a lot of people don't really think about that as far as I can tell. I have coaching sessions where I ask that question, well, who do you want to be in this relationship? And more often than not, I hear, dang, I don't even know. So this really gave me the opportunity to really get to know myself and who I wanted to be as a person, right? Because again, you don't really have that opportunity to do that self-reflection until something goes wrong within a relationship. So it was kind of like, I'm going to have to switch back here because I don't want to get these people in my shot. So it's kind of like, I had to learn who I wanted to be. I had to really think about who she was and, what she needed from me as a friend, because we all need different things. There are times when, there are people that need that venting ability, and they need to be able to talk about every single thing and just vent and just talk about it. And, she was one of those people. So that was something that I had to learn how to do. The point I'm trying to make is, I know that I did everything in my power to be the kind of friend that I thought she needed by what she was telling me and the way that she was acting and the way that she would respond to certain things. So, I really thought I was making good progress. And, she's done some things that I wouldn't do that have upset me just because I'm her friend. And one of them is the guys that she chooses to date. And this part is so tricky because as a friend, you're there for your girlfriend or guy friend. Uh-oh, that's really bad. And they tell you the bad things that that happen to them. With this particular situation, I call the finale. She had been dating a guy and she got pregnant. And this guy's response as a grown-ass man was not okay. He basically was like, I thought you couldn't get pregnant. And basically just left her alone to deal with that on her own during an already extremely tumultuous time in her life. She was already dealing with some health issues and about to have a surgery that could either make or break her, basically. And on top of that, she's having to deal with this pregnancy, having to deal with getting an abortion, all without him. And I will never mention her name because I don't want to put her out there like that. But I will say that she was one of the nicest people I knew. And I say was because something happened after the surgery that really changed her, as far as from my perspective. So, of course, her telling me this, I was like, what a fuck boy. Because that's my favorite word for men that don't act like men, basically. And a year goes by, and then she decides that she wants to start dating him again. And listen, that's fine, except just because you like him now does not mean that I'm going to like him now. I'm not built that way, especially when it comes to stuff like that. You can't just leave a woman, you can't get a woman pregnant and then just leave her to deal with it by herself. That's some fuckboy shit. So, but I never said anything to her. I never ever was like, what are you doing? Or whatever, because at the end of the day, we're grown. you know, and we don't have to like who each other dates or anything like that, at least as far as I'm concerned. As long as you keep him away from me, I don't really care. So fast forward a few months, and she's getting real lippy about somebody that I'm dating, somebody that is super amazing. He even takes care of her when we're all out together. And I had just had enough. And, you know, I'm telling her that as we're discussing plans to go out the following week. And one of the things that I want to say is part of our relationship, well, honestly, the extent of it was going out. We didn't do a whole lot of dinners. You know, she wasn't an entrepreneur or anything, so she didn't do networking, you know, so the club was kind of the extent of our outings, if you will. We would talk on the phone and text and share funny anecdotes on social media, but for the most part, that's all that we really did. We didn't do anything else, despite trying. Or we went to concerts, and, you know, she would go to poetry sets with me, but that ended kind of when Black Lives Matter started, but that's a whole nother topic. And so, excuse me, I was just, you know, I had had enough of her poking fun at the guy that I was dating, because he's a really good guy. Is, because he's a really good guy. And so I finally brought it up to her, and I was like, look, you know, I'd appreciate it if you just stop talking shit, because let's be real, you know, the guy that you're dating is a fuckboy. And then there was no conversation after that. Now, for me, I thought, you know, it just is what it is. We're two grown adults. We don't have to talk every single day, right? To keep our plans. So fast forward to this Friday. We have plans to go out to a special club night that happens every couple of months. And I don't hear from her. Now, usually, because this is what she likes to do, she's texting and calling all, you know, several times during the week leading up to it, you know, making sure we still have plans, trying to figure out what she's gonna wear, blah, 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 etc., doing what I call girly things. I don't do that. So for me, I thought it was normal. I knew that there was a little bit of tension, but, you know, she apologized and I didn't bring up dude again. So I thought we were, you know, cool. And I hit her up and I'm like, hey, you know, are you still going? And she's like, I'm thinking about it. Are you? And I'm like, that's weird, because we had plans to go together. So never once did you tell me that you had changed your mind or anything like that. So that was the first red flag for me. And I want to also add that every time we stopped speaking was because of her. I can remember the one time I was like, you know what, I'm cool. And it was because she had done something stupid. And what I mean by stupid is self-deprecating. I don't do well with that. I don't know how to deal with somebody when they are doing something that they know will hurt themselves. So, you know, I go out to the same place, and usually she's texting me what she's gonna wear. She's texting me when she's leaving the house. She's texting me when she's parking, when she's showing up, like all of this stuff. And none of that happened. And it's funny about perception, because here I am thinking, okay, well, maybe, you know, she's just kind of grown out of that, and she realizes that that irritates me, and she's trying to do something, you know, in the benefit of me. She's trying to make a change that I want. I was wrong. Get to the club. I don't hear from her or anything. Long story short, we kind of get into it, and I find out that she's mad at me because I don't like the guy that left her pregnant and alone. You heard me. And I'm just at a point in my life where if the relationship or any kind of ship does not serve me in a positive, productive way, I just don't want to do it anymore. It doesn't mean that I hate her or anything like that. It just simply means that I can't do it anymore, because I know how I am, and I'm already cognizant of the person that I am and how that bothers me. So I was just like, okay, my bad, I thought, because we had made plans. I'm like, we don't need to talk every single day. I was wrong. I was like, okay, my bad. Then she proceeds to tell me that she figured I was going with somebody else to the club because I was talking about it with them on social media. And my first response was, what are you, 12? So I can't talk to anybody else about this event other than you? Get the fuck out of here. And I mean, honestly, I left the club later on that night, and I was just like really replaying, and I'm saving some of the stupid details for myself because I already know that you're like, what? But I'm replaying it over in my head, and I'm just thinking like, so you didn't speak to me all week because you didn't like the fact that I called your fuckboy a fuckboy. Okay. And you thought that I would just forget our plans, cancel our plans, and not even tell you. That shows me what kind of person you think I am. Because as an event planner, I know the importance of RSVPing and letting people know that you're going to be there or you're not. So I would never do that, especially not to anybody. But for her to think that I would just be like, I would just, forget about our plans and go with somebody else because of something I posted on social media. Unless I posted on social media, I am not going with you, I'm going with her instead. I don't know why you would think that. And honestly, I just am to a point where, it's okay for maybe I don't need to be friends with this person in this way. And again, it's not about a ill will and I wish any bad on her. I wish her all the best because she has a lot going on and she doesn't always make the best decisions. And why do I say that? Because she keeps making the same stupid ones. Anyway, I just decided that I just don't want to do that anymore. This friendship was not serving me. It wasn't very positive. It wasn't productive. She didn't support my business at all whatsoever. I mean, if you went to her social media, she's sharing and liking stuff from people she doesn't even know, but not once doing that for me, for somebody that she calls her best friend. And it's just like, for a second I felt wrong because I was just like, that in a couple of days, the next day even, she's going to be on your phone, which she was, telling you what she really meant. But it's like, at some point, you just got to do what's best for you. And, especially as an adult, but at any age, if a situation is not serving you the way that you need it to, it's okay to remove yourself from the situation. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person. Doesn't mean that she's a bad person. It just means that maybe y'all need to limit y'all's interactions to Facebook. And again, I can't stress enough that that is okay. If you find yourself in a relationship, a friendship, an anything ship that isn't serving your best interest, chances are you're not being the best person to them either. Now let me say that again. If you're in a situation that's not serving your best interest, chances are you're not being your best you within that situation. So, that being said, what's the point? Ask yourself. If you're constantly fighting with somebody, what's the point? If you really don't have much in common, what's the point? We're about to pass this guy doing donuts in the parking lot. Well, I guess he's done now. But it's like, if it's not helping you work towards being a better you, what's the point? And nowadays, support is something that's crucial to me, and it's like, I can't make you support me, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that I have to allow things to stay where they are. And that's okay. It's okay to make changes. Just because you've known somebody for 20 years does not mean that they're good for you, And it sucks because, of course, you have these feelings of guilt. And it's like, am I really doing what's best? Or am I just being selfish? Because everybody has those situations, and this was one for me where I swear these kids get a little power between them and they don't know what to do. This was a situation where I really do feel like it was more beneficial for her to be my friend than it was for me to be hers. And the only thing that I mean by that is just what it sounds. I don't want it to seem like I wasn't trying to be her friend or she wasn't trying to be a good friend to me. But I do think, and I've heard from other people that have seen us and interacted with us and whatnot, that it benefited her more than it did me. Which was another reason that I had to just be like, okay, we're done. Because this isn't working for me. And again, if she happens to watch this, it's not, hating on her or whatsoever. It's all about loving on me. So the next time you get into your 125th argument with that person, be it a man, woman, friend, husband, wife, mother, sister, daughter, whatever, think about, is this argument really going to solve the situation, or is this just going to lead to more arguments? And think about, is this relationship really good for me, or am I playing myself? Because nowadays we have enough drama out there and enough negativity coming out at us the minute we walk out the door. We don't need to add to it. We don't need to have relationships that aren't positive. We don't need to have relationships that don't serve our best interest. And that goes both ways, It goes both ways. So just remember that the next time you go hard for somebody, that don't go hard for you. Because this girl really did not speak to me for a week because I don't like somebody that did her wrong. I'll never understand that. And quite honestly, I don't want to. I hope that, my little bit of wisdom will help you get through your next argument, and really hope that it will motivate you to either want better for yourself or just reevaluate who you are within that situation and what did you cause? What are you bringing?